Y'all, I just want y'all to understand how frustrated I am. Like, I'm super upset. I literally just sat here and recorded this whole video for like 15 minutes and then it didn't record. Like, I pressed the button. But we're doing it again. All right, cut. Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about Tiffany Jackson's Grown. Yes, this book was amazing. First off, this is one of probably the best YA fiction books that I've read in a very long time. And I've read some really good books lately in regards to YA fiction. I've never really been into YA fiction much. Honestly, when I was in those years, as they would say, I jumped immediately to adult fiction. I had a whole lot that I was saying on my other video, but I think I want to go back and emphasize a lot of those things here. This book was so triggering, and I am so appreciative of the author for even putting that information in the book at the beginning. She put a trigger warning out there. It follows the story of this character, Enchanted Jones, and it talks about her as she progressed, and she's trying to go forth and pursue this musical career, and then she meets this guy who is an older individual. He's affluent, he has money, and he's older. And she's 17, he's 28, I believe, at the time that they meet. And then they move forward and it becomes this like tumultuous relationship. And what triggered me so much about this story is because I remember at a time this was my story. I remember being 17, dating a 28-year-old. And if anybody shared this video with my grandma, this is my confession. Here we are. I'm sorry. It happened. What's done is done. It ain't nothing we can do about it. But yeah, I remember that. But also, I didn't end up in like a domestic violence or situation or nothing like that. We actually didn't end up talking very long. But I know so many girls, specifically so many black women, where this is their story, where they literally were approached by older men at younger ages. Some of them went on to marry these men and things of that nature and stuff like that, and some of them are living happy ever after. But you do recognize when there are situations where this man is literally using this as a tool of manipulation to try to emotionally manipulate and coerce this woman into becoming what I consider a pawn or you know, a puppet for him. And there were a lot of themes in this book, a lot of things that talked about domestic violence, things that talked about sexual violence, things that talked about drug abuse, things that dealt with the ability to consent and not consent, whether you are conscious or not conscious. It was so many things. So I would recommend this book to young adults because I feel like these kids have so much access to the internet, so much access to the world. They already know what's going on, what it is. It is what it is. It definitely opens up a space of conversation, specifically when it talks about how black women are often not believed when they go to like authorities or people who are supposed to be in authority, and they go to them and they tell them like, listen, this is what happened to me, this is what's going on. And so it talks about those, you know, we often talk about, and I've been one of those people, and where you're like, well, why didn't she say anything? Because most of the time when black women, and I know there it happens to other people, but I'm a black woman, so we're going to talk about black women. Most of the time black women are not believed. Like, there is some type of thing where they assume that our bodies are still chattel. We are no longer slaves. And in this good Black History Month, I feel like it is just so important for us to understand, like, black women need to be protected. And so this story literally follows the story of a young lady who is black, and how there were not enough safety procedures and things put in place to protect her. And so, yes, we could talk about the parents. We could talk about, the irresponsibleness of the other adults around. We could talk about all these different things. And you know what? I ain't even mad at Tiffany for taking what we would consider a pop cultural story and flipping that thing into fiction and making a bag out of it. No, it's not specifically about a musical person that we will not name. Ugh. But it is centered around themes concerning that story. And if you have been anywhere in the last 4 or 5 years, you know what I'm talking about. Okay? So, when I listened to this book, because I actually ended up, even though I own the actual physical copy of the book, I actually ended up listening to the audio. When I listened to this book, I finished it in about 2 days, and I was just like, there were so many things. Like, I had to stop on several occasions where I was like, shut this off. Let's stop talking about it, because we not gonna do this. We're not gonna do this. But yeah, so I have to make sure I was still recording, because they wasn't finna get me again, y'all. It was not about to get me again. So like I was saying, this focuses on like so many different things, so many things that I feel like we need to talk about in our community and we need to discuss. And so there were parts in the book where I was just like, I can't take this. Let me cut this off. I can turn this off, because I just was like, yo, this is dumb. Like, I can't believe this is happening. Like, I got so, like, I have to remember that these are, look, I get so engulfed in a book that I have to remember, like, these are characters. These are not real people. These are not your friends. You cannot go save them and protect them. But there are so many moments in the book where I was like, girl, stop. He's not gonna change. Like, run. Like, especially the one part, like I said, go pick up the book and read it, because I don't want to create any spoilers. But I was just like, run. Like, what are we doing? And so like I said, it just really made me, I think why it impacted me so, and why it made me feel so affected by it, was the fact that it was so relevant and so closely connected to my own story. And even in my book, Confessions of a Young Adult's Life, I kind of talk about certain themes and things of that nature, about concerning having romantic relationships with men and with people, and understanding mental health, and going through different things, and going through different traumatic experiences, and dealing with abuse. Like, even as a kid, being abused by a mother's ex-boyfriend, and having to navigate through those things as a young adult, as a teenager, and knowing that, that the people who are supposed to be there to protect me and to save me, that they're not doing what they're supposed to do, or that they are not even they're not even paying attention or even aware of what's happening. And so this story really does make you just kind of like think about what it is, how it is, and how these things happen. And so I'm gonna end it here. As I said, go pick up the book. Highly recommend. Tiffany, you get a 10 out of 10 for me, baby, if we putting it on the scale. Thank you for writing this book. Thank you for telling this story, because it was so necessary. And I really appreciate you. So y'all have a beautiful day. Catch you back here next time. Love you so much.